Hello there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Formula Pod. After quite a lot of technical difficulties over the past few episodes, and in fact, this episode itself, because we have been figuring out what's really wrong with our recording softwares, we finally are here, and we are here to talk all about the Singapore Grand Prix. A good amount of them will say, "Oh, it was a McLaren victory," but a good amount of us are asking, "Is it really the race we had to watch?" Or did it live to its standards? And yeah, joining me today is just Nathan. The poor guy is sick for the past few days. Had his cold. In fact, pre-show, he was coughing quite a lot, but then he actually made it again because he wants to share his disappointment. And this is the platform which he can say it out loud. So yeah, welcome Nathan back to the show.
Thank you so much, Arjun. I can't wait to share my disappointment with all our wonderful listeners of Formula Pod and also with Arjun, who
Yeah.
also himself had a very disappointing Grand Prix Mercedes, to be fair.
Of course.
But like
Again,
we'll get on to that.
we'll
But
get onto that. We'll get
you know,
onto
I
that.
am I am sick physically, but I am also sick after watching whatever that was, that race that we saw on Sunday. I don't know what that was, but I'm sick of that. And I'm sick of Ferrari, and I'm sick of Ferrari's performance. But we move.
That's the plan. Yeah, like I want to talk about the Singapore Grand Prix, like our initial thoughts on the Singapore Grand Prix. Personally, I felt it was a bit of a mediocre race because the past few races has actually given us stone cold action. Probably that
Absolutely.
because Azerbaijan again, it was again another boring race, but yet that last lap actually turned things around like anything, which actually got us a lot more excited. And all the previous races, again, it was the same thing. But I was just discussing with everyone on our WhatsApp chat as well that now I don't want Lando to win anymore, personally speaking, because again, McLaren has got it to the constructors. Again, I'm happy for them. Wow, amazing. But I don't want to see the same face going up again and again and again. Please, some change required.
I think, you know what, Arjun, I think we are so spoiled. The last two races were so good. Italy, we
I,
saw, you know,
I,
the
I think
last, the
that set the benchmark, to be very honest.
That's true. That is true. Italy was such an amazing race. We had like Charles Leclerc on all hard tires, last few laps remaining. Oscar was catching him. Would he pass him at the last lap? That was what we were looking forward to. Baku was a completely different, situation where you had Charles behind Oscar throughout the whole race. And then in the end, obviously, there was a safety car. But then this race, it kind of reminded me of Zandvoort, you know? It was like another Zandvoort repeat, right? Lando Norris just dominating the whole field and putting a gap on Max Verstappen, who's back finally. I don't know where he was these past two races, but he's back on the podium.
He's back on the podium, exactly. I was like, what do you call? Max Verstappen is normally what do you call associated with that particular character from Ice Age. I forgot what its name is.
The Sid the sloth.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just like, this god Sid is finally back. Where did you go?
It was so
Uh,
nice to see the cool down room at the end, right? When you had like Max back in the cool down room talking to Lando and Oscar. The
Actually,
cool down
like
room is such an amazing feature that
the cool down room content is actually gold content, and it missed its host Max Verstappen, and he came back.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, but
honestly.
personally speaking, a lot of strategies which teams thought would work didn't work, and again, Singapore being a track which overtaking is so hard because your qualifying position speaks volumes in the first place, and then if your strategy is messed up, then it's a different ball game itself. Like I have to say, my team Mercedes, I am disappointed what they did to Lewis. Again, the guy had track position P3, P4, and George was on P4. Who on in their right mind will send Lewis out of all on softs? Like again, George makes sense because George has executed the thing number of times doing the overtake in the first lap, first corner. Lewis is not that. And It was a special race for Lewis. It was his 350th Grand Prix start. He's now second to Fernando Alonso, who's at 379 races. Like
Hmm.
I just don't know. I was like, did like Lewis is going to Ferrari? Is it like say Mercedes were like, oh, you know what? You guys like took our guy, and we're gonna take some of your people and called all the strategy people to Mercedes, and everyone are messing it up now. You like
Honestly, I
played
mean,
that
uh,
game.
yeah, but like, if I put, maybe, if I was like a Mercedes fan, or like you look at any team, it was really hard to kind of understand the tires for this Grand Prix. I mean,
Mhm.
with the way how the whole weekend panned out, I mean,
Yeah,
this, Arjun. Friday was so good for Ferrari. Like
yeah.
they really had an amazing car. Like they put it up there in front with Lando, on the soft tires, even on the medium and long, on the hard tire stints, they did really well. But then Saturday came, and Mercedes, by the way, on Friday were really poor. But then Saturday came, and it was a completely different picture, apart from Lando Norris, who was so good. But Mercedes then found some performance on Saturday during their runs, and
Yeah.
Ferrari just had a very different car, a completely different car. Carlos and Charles just didn't like the tires at all, and we had that same issue in qualifying as well, where it was hard to get the
Mhm.
tires up to that optimal window. Where unfortunately Carlos, in his final run, man, I knew in my heart that it was bound to happen at some point of time. It was too good to be true, right? That a Ferrari had to crash. I knew that it had to happen. It was going to either happen in Italy or in Baku. It didn't happen, but I knew it was coming, and it came, and he crashed. But then that was so bad to see. But then what was even worse was Charles Leclerc on his final lap. He didn't manage to put a time on the board because I think he went over a corner. He got his lap time deleted, which was just really sad. I mean,
On
that lap was
quality,
very bad. Either way, it was that
exactly.
lap was really bad either way. So,
Mhm.
you can't really blame Mercedes for like picking maybe a soft tire. I mean, you never knew. No one knew how the tires would have reacted. Maybe if that soft tire worked and it went on for like a long period of time, we might be seeing a completely different podium, maybe. But it's pretty unfortunate. Even Ricardo, by the way, went on the soft tires at the start, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. But personally speaking, like seeing all the strategy, it was what you. I think personally, it was a long shot for both of these drivers. Because again, you've got a rocket ship, which is McLaren, and you've got the X rocket ship, which is the Red Bull, and then you've got the two cars which power that rocket ship, which is the Mercedes, and you've got a rocket ship right behind you, which is Oscar Piastri. So pretty much they were kind of surrounded around rocket ships and they couldn't do anything about it. And again, like if even say Lewis was one of the early pit stop people, and it just didn't work it out. But yeah, since our McLaren fan never made it to the episode, thanks to she working really hard, making some money, and surviving in the UK, this is the chance where we are going to give her just because we feel like with the McLaren win and the McLaren person not being here, best what we are doing is right now we're going to just keep that space and be like, okay, what do you think? But yeah, Vashruti, what do you think?
So for me, as a McLaren fan, I quite liked it because this is the first race where Lando actually converted his pole position to a P1 in the end, which I was very, very proud about. Oscar being up there from P5 was a plus, and I really liked it. I liked seeing both my boys on top. I didn't get that last year, but I got it this year, which is quite nice. Max, we expected. But I, funnily enough, didn't expect Max to win because he's never won in Singapore and he never got in pole position in Singapore. So I just banked on that. Arjun, I'm so sorry to say, but Mercedes was not that great. Nathan, for the Ferraris, they quite recovered, honestly. Carlos went down a bit, but like they were able to make up for the issues that they had during quali, which I was very happy about. Franco again was really close to the points, P11, which is sad, but it is what it is. And lastly, Daniel, sweet, sweet Daniel. If this was his last race, he just kind of sat in his car and took it all in towards the end. You could see that. And I just hope that it isn't. But if it is, I'm going to miss him so bad.
Coming back from that entire message from Mashruti, it was the same thing. It's like, McLaren again. Like it's just after fun. We're just like people with teams who don't constantly manage to grab the win. It feels a bit disappointing for us. Again,
Yeah,
like
I know.
Silverstone, Austria, Spa were the times where I was on ecstatic, being like, "Oh, Mercedes is back," and then probably Monaco, Monza, Australia would be the time where Nathan would be up on the roof, being like, "Oh, Ferrari is back." But yeah, after
Hmm.
that, pretty much Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, and then in between, Oscar just comes to stir things up, and then he again goes back.
But still, even for a McLaren fan, you must be thinking like, you've had such a rocket ship of a car that pulls out 25 seconds or 20 seconds in front of Max Verstappen. Where was that car for these past few races, like in Baku and Italy? Where was that car, Arjun? Where was that car in Belgium, let's say? Where they, I don't know where they even finished. They finished behind, obviously, the Mercedes and also Max. Oh no, Max actually finished behind them, but they were still like nowhere in that
Of
race.
course, yeah, yeah. No, in fact, it was a 1-2 for Mercedes, and number three was
Yeah,
McLaren. It's not that McLaren wasn't there; it was just that the wrong driver was there.
that is true. That is very
Because
true because Lando finished P5 in that race. And what's
exactly,
funny is Verstappen outscored him in that race. Verstappen outscored. It's actually a very funny thing because I've
no,
been
no,
looking
now
at this.
Nathan brings the math. Now Nathan brings the exact math over here.
I,
Go on,
I'm
Nathan.
going to bring some math. I'm going to bring some math exactly because I mentioned this in the Baku episode as well, but I want to bring this up again. But a different stat this time. Since Spain,
Yeah.
Norris has scored 129 points, and Verstappen has scored 112 points. Now, the reason why I say since Spain is because that was the last time Verstappen won a race. He won in Canada, he won in Spain, and that was the last time he ever won a race. He's got podiums, but that's pretty much it. And those are eight races.
Mhm, yeah.
Since then, Norris has only outscored Verstappen by 17 points in these eight races, which is for a car that just pulled out 23, 22 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. That is something that doesn't correlate at all. If you have a car that's
Mhm.
basically putting a gap of 22 seconds in front of a Red Bull, you are expected to literally dominate every race. If a Max or a
Exactly.
Lewis was in that McLaren, they would do that.
They would have done
I
it.
would
But
I would give it to you in writing because I'm telling you, as a Ferrari fan, I have witnessed Lewis basically win 4 races, 5 races, 6 races in a row. Don't even think about Lewis. Let's talk about Max. He won 10 races in a row in that Red Bull last season, and we were so sick of it. I mean, Norris has, I don't know what, it's either Norris or it's the McLaren or it's the team. Something just isn't right. And luckily, Singapore is a good race. It was a good race for them, and there's only 6 more races to go, Arjun. And
wow,
three of them,
you're giving me the realization that the race is going to, like, the season is going to wrap up.
I know, and it's such a sad thing because we've had such a wonderful season this year compared to obviously last year. But 6 races to go, Arjun, and 3 of them have sprint races. So that's going
Wow.
to be very crucial
The
for
spice
Norris.
levels are going to heat up because, of course, the next
Absolutely,
race, Circuit of the Americas, is a sprint race, and
it
then
is a
we have
sprint
got,
weekend. Yeah,
yeah, after Circuit of the Americas, it's Mexico, and after Mexico, you've got Brazil, which again has got sprint. After Brazil, Las Vegas again, it's going to be so much glitz and glamour, and then you've got Qatar, which of course has a sprint race, and then you've got
yeah,
Abu Dhabi. So yeah, now we are on that 3 week long break before two triple headers coming our way.
yeah. I
But
can't believe it's over.
we have a 2 week break,
Yeah.
and then it's like bam, bam, bam.
That's it. I think that's what we need, right? We need this season to, finally have like an ending. Because and I need to know if Norris can actually do it, if he can actually win this championship. Obviously, Vishruti is going to be happy, but it's very interesting to see. Let's see how it ends.
That's of course. Let's see how it ends. Looking from a race perspective, say a total of 150 points on Grand Prix alone is up for grabs, and on sprints that is basically 8 times 3. That's 24. 120, 150 plus 24 is 174. 174 points up for grabs. Who gets it? Who doesn't get it? The question still remains whether Lando Norris can get it, because practically now speaking, Red Bull's second driver, Sergio Perez, cannot do it at all anymore. Too far from Max Verstappen. Too far.
Yeah, I mean, Perez is still stuck in, I don't know, wherever he's stuck in some sea or some country. At this point, I give up. But, I
Last
mean,
time, last time we were talking
he,
about Pacific Sea and Indian Sea. Now you've changed it to South China Sea.
yeah, because we were in Singapore. But, I mean,
Good, good.
there's literally no way that Perez was in contention for that championship this season at all. I mean, after his
Because Perez
performances.
needs 187 points. His gap between Max Verstappen is 187 points. We only have 174 points up for grabs. As in, George Russell is also going to be get on threat if he doesn't score some big points, because George Russell is 176 points away. But again, you have got the fastest laps as well, which is 1 point additional. So you calculate that as well over the next 6 races. You still get, again, you add that to 180 points. So George Russell has to amp up. Again, Lewis can be a bit more comfortable in that, but top of the charts, Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, everyone on the fight for P1. The fight is on. As far as the constructors are concerned, now McLaren leads by 41 points. Ferrari is not that back. Ferrari is 75 points behind, and then you've got a Mercedes at 187 points behind. So,
Hmm.
and then we have got a Kick Sauber, which is 516 points behind.
I mean, I'm so done. I don't want to even talk about that team anymore. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Like, yeah, because there has been discussions about what is Kick Sauber's case, which is the second driver coming up, and it has speculations that Valtteri Bottas will still continue. But I feel at this rate now they have to understand that they are no more a joke, because they have been a joke. Literally,
Hmm.
they finished the season without points. 100% they will be considered a joke.
They're the new
Because
Williams.
no, 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 but Williams is not a joke anymore, because Franco Colapinto came and stirred things around for Williams. I feel like Colapinto must have been called in a lot earlier compared to calling him just in the last 9 races.
Absolutely. I mean, and what a move as well he made into turn one during the race. That
Yeah,
was
like
amazing.
his teammate didn't like it. Alex was just like, did he just dive bombed me?
Which is what I find very interesting because if you actually watch the replay, he had nothing to do with Colapinto in that first corner. Like Alex was all the way in the outside and Colapinto just went to the inside and Alex didn't get any traction. He just went off track and Colapinto somehow managed to just keep it on track. So
Mhm.
I really didn't understand why Alex had to say that. But I mean, finally, there's someone pushing Alex for the first time. I mean, Alex has never had a teammate who has pushed him like this. So in a way, it's kind of a good
It's
thing.
off his comfort zone for sure.
Oh, definitely. Colapinto is, I mean, look, Monza is a very easy track. He has driven obviously a bunch of, junior formulas there. So it's easy, it's fine. Baku is a bit more difficult. It's obviously street track, so you have to be a bit more careful. But he did that so well with the car that he was given, and obviously Alex did well at the same time. But
Yeah.
Singapore as a track, as for a driver, it's the ultimate test, isn't it, Arjun? Because you have a lot of corners and it is a street track. But not only that, Arjun, you sit in a car in the cockpit, it's like 50 degrees Celsius, and you consider the temperature in Singapore with that level of humidity, it's unbelievable. Like you had to see drivers coming out of the car at the end of the race
Yeah,
drenched
I did see
completely.
some of the onboards, and it was just like I just felt like that was like Qatar rewind.
Exactly, and Singapore is really bad. I mean, we have seen it in the past few seasons as well. Singapore is a very demanding race. It takes literally everything out of the drivers. So for a rookie who's literally on his third race of this season to complete that race, obviously finish ahead of his teammate, but unfortunately his teammate had to retire. But he managed to keep P11, which is insane. And he was
That's
fighting
not.
Perez,
That
and he
is
was
a.
fighting Perez, who was in a Red Bull, which was which is so good. I
And
just wish he has a seat for next season, but with Bottas, maybe finalizing, his talks, his deal with Sauber, we might not be able to see that. But I hope he gets a seat in 2026 because he's an amazing driver.
no, I think like definitely there will be some sort of an arrangement where how Liam Lawson right now is on hold. Something like that. They are most certain they will work out something around it. But more keeping all these aside, let's actually talk the elephant in the room, Daniel Ricciardo. This basically has basically what do you call turned out to be one of probably not Lando, sorry. Let me say Lando Vishruti is gonna kill the hell out of me. But yeah, let's come back.
How dare you?
No, this in fact has been one of maybe probably Daniel Ricciardo's final Formula One race. And before the race, he was actually like, okay, I just want to get this thing somehow on the podium because Daniel Ricciardo being Daniel Ricciardo, that is basically expected of him. And it's not like everything is to blame to Daniel because a good amount of times the development procedure wasn't as expected for the team. I don't even know why I yawned, but there it is. I've acknowledged it. Um, but but actually, um, the case of Daniel Ricciardo, Max Verstappen actually got his lead at least by 1 point. Managed to maintain the lead by at least 1 point. Because you've got a Lando Norris, fast approaching Lando Norris, ready to basically snatch the crown from Verstappen. And how fast is that going to be? We got to see. But ideally, it is not any slow. Probably if he wins, because the British distribution is 2019, 2018, 10. I believe that's a points distribution, right? 20, 25, 18, 10
Off.
of Formula One points. 25,
It's
18, 10.
it's 25 for first place, 18 for second, and 15 for third.
Oh, 25, 18, 15. So basically, that
Yeah,
is like, that's like what, 7 points, 8 points?
7 points.
Yeah, so seven. So if it's P1, P2, Lando Max, Lando closes the gap by 7 points every race. If it's fastest lap, then it is 8 points he will close. But last lap, soft tires, Daniel did that business and kind of took the fastest lap. In fact, I think that'll be V Carb's very fastest lap. And it is now officially the fastest lap record of the Singapore Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
All the lap records till this while was maintained by Lewis Hamilton. Last year, Lewis did the impossible of taking the fastest lap with the race. And again, Mercedes had all the possible things to even win that last Singapore Grand Prix, but then things happened. But Daniel Ricciardo now holds that record. And that one, I think, for a team like WeCarb, again, it may not be a point, but then, like how we say you've got tangibles and intangibles. That is such an intangible because
Yeah. I mean,
not
I think it's
yeah,
kind of
like
like their
he's-
first. It's kind of like their first achievement, right? As V
exactly
carb.
as we
Yeah.
card, it is their very very first fastest lap. But yeah, it is actually
Exactly.
sad in case seeing what is Daniel's case. Ideally, I don't know how it is, but then I really hope I get to see Daniel Ricciardo for the rest of the six races, and also when we go down to Abu Dhabi to watch the race. Like I again, from Abu Dhabi, if he goes, he goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Daniel Ricciardo is not someone who just came out of random and then just like going out. Daniel Ricciardo himself is a brand. You know, his shoeies, his those funny voices, and the way how he says the, what do you call, driver's name, like the Nico Ulkenberg and like Pierre Gasly. You know, like he's given a lot to the sport, and it is, again, it's like how, say, a lot of, when Sebastian Vettel was basically retiring from Formula One. I'm pretty sure all the Ferrari fans must have been devastated because
Yeah,
Seb
I mean, not
actually,
just
like, not even
yeah.
Ferrari fans, pretty much a good amount of Formula One fans must have felt like, oh shit. But yeah, this is. I personally feel this is somewhat reaching to that levels. But yeah, it's too much of me talking. Nathan, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's we obviously had these conversations of Liam Lawson, being offered to drive, but then I've always thought that that was from 2025 onwards, and then recently, just before the race weekend even begun, we had like reports coming in that Liam Lawson might even take his seat for the Singapore Grand Prix, which I found very very sad, and it's actually pretty sad that they're planning to put Liam into the seat. It's not confirmed yet, but there are talks of Liam racing for VCARB this season itself, from the circuit of the Americas in Texas. So, I mean, man, that really is a sad thing, and what a career! Honestly, 8 race wins, 3 pole positions, 17 fastest laps, 32 podiums, and he's just been a phenomenal driver. I mean, for me personally, when I started watching F1 in 2018, like I remember this very clearly because I love Ferrari. I love Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen. But then the next driver that I really liked and I used to really admire was Daniel Ricciardo. And the one thing that got me hooked on was there was this highlights reel that Formula One uploaded on YouTube, which
Yeah,
basically showed his 7 victories that he had in Red Bull. Man, every single one of those victories, like from 2014 onwards, you had to just see his emotion that he brought on to to every one of his victories. I mean,
yeah,
his shoeies, his radio reactions, his the way how he is even in the paddock in with other drivers, and even like apart from his personality, you look at him from like a driver's perspective. Think about it, Arjun. In 2014 he comes into that Red Bull team, okay, with obviously a completely new regulation, with Mercedes dominating that season with Lewis and Nico. But guess what, he beat the 4-time world champion in Sebastian Vettel in equal machinery in that Red Bull and finished third in that championship in 2014 in his
mhm,
first ever season in Red Bull. That is unbelievable for a guy who just got put into the Red Bull seat and just defeat the 4-time world champion in Sebastian Vettel and come third. It's unbelievable. And 2015 was a weird season. Let's completely write that off for Daniel Ricciardo fans because he finished behind Kvyat. But in 2016, again, he finished third. So Max, again, during the press conferences and during like every interview, he kept on mentioning that, a lot of the new F1 fans might see Ricardo as, oh, an average driver, or he had his glory days. But as an OG Formula One fan who has seen Ricardo in his Red Bull days, he was one of the fastest drivers on the grid, up there with Lewis, up there with Nico, with Bottas, with Raikkonen and Seb. He was up there, and his days with Red Bull were unbelievable. The best ever race that I've seen him win personally was Monaco, with a
yeah. I
uh,
remember that.
very disappointing race the season before, where
Before that, yeah.
Yeah, his redemption race. That was the whole tagline of that Monaco race, was his redemption. And to win that race with even with a car trouble, he had like a gearbox issue as well, or some engine problem. He still struggled and he maintained that lead and won that race, is unbelievable. And then obviously with the Red Bull drama he had with Max, he left Red Bull. He then went on to Renault. He wasn't able to really copy his success from Red Bull to Renault, but he still got some podiums with the team. He got Cyril a
The
tattoo
tattoo on his
in
track layouts.
yeah, yeah, and he also then he went to McLaren and he won a race.
In fact,
Um,
yeah, before Lando Norris even touching win, it was Ricardo who basically, in the shittiest machinery which back then McLaren had, did the
yeah,
job. Like
yeah,
again,
and he he's the
it
one that he's the one that got McLaren that victory after so long, isn't it? It's
yeah,
just
absolutely. Well,
unbelievable.
it's again like if we start talking about Daniel Ricciardo, we basically would need like 3 long episodes because there is that much to
Absolutely.
say. Because to us, Daniel Ricciardo, again, he may be a driver with weak carb, but he is not that person who you think he is. Again, not that driver who is only there in the midfields. He is a, as how he described, he is a high performance athlete, and he can go to the absolute limits. And again, when I started watching Formula One, I did see that.
Yeah.
And again, and literally, when you go through those old, literally, I'm not even saying this. 2019, I think 2019 or 2020, and like the when he got on Monza, that was,
The win in Monza
yeah, it was 2020 or
was
2020.
2021.
Yeah,
2021.
2021, when Monza, again, Verstappen and Hamilton collided, and then he was the driver. He was maintaining with such caliber the entire track grid. He raced, he was like, okay, I'm going to do whatever it takes. Again, it was not what he wasn't feeling that comfortable with the machinery, but then he still managed to do it. And that actually gave it all. Or I think
Absolutely.
probably the first win of the 2020 range decade to McLaren was gifted by Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah.
After that, again, 2, 3 seasons, and then after that, then you've got Oscar Piastri, who is now doing a far better job. I'm not saying a far better job. He's definitely he's doing a better job right now, and even Lando as well. But again, car has evolved a lot. But yeah, if whether Daniel there or not, we as Formula Pod, I think unanimously we will say we would want to see Daniel again on track.
Definitely. It's so early. It's too early. I mean, he should at least finish the season. I want to see him in Abu Dhabi, and in the end of the season, you have the ritual
Have
of
that,
doing
what do you call
donuts.
that? You have, I don't know, is it called like the Walk of Fame, or uh, where like you have like people standing on left and right, and then they clap while you're walking in.
Yeah, that as well, but also doing donuts at the end of the race. That's like the best thing
Oh
as well. I
yes,
want to
of
see him do
course.
that.
It's Daniel. We need it.
We need it. And it's such a shame that we might not see it. I mean, you know what? This is I need to just ask VCAP to just do this at least. At least this. He needs to race in Texas. I mean, the guy is born to be a cowboy. He's done his gimmicks in Texas. He's that cowboy guy.
And also one of the things we need to highlight about Ricardo,
Yeah,
like all the other drivers, they will not end up doing all these what do you call crazy sort of activations. In fact, any team who gets him, Ricardo is like the biggest marketing asset a team could dream about.
absolutely.
Like he's ready to do anything. You tell, okay, I want you like walk with the cat. He'll walk with the cat. I even remember like one of the Austin episodes where James Corden was with Lando and Daniel, and they were wearing those kind of what do you call crop tops with the cowboy hats, and then walking through the paddock. Oh, I'm like, oh my god! But yeah, uh, if as I said, if we talk about Daniel, this is like a full long episode we'll go on to. But yeah, I just want to just ask Nathan, how did you feel about the McLaren livery though?
Wow. I mean, I was very, very surprised. I was very, very surprised. I didn't expect them to bring out a special livery, and that white goes very well. I really wish that they had some red in there instead of the papaya, but then obviously they have to stick to their current color scheme.
No, if
But
they switch to red, it is another team.
no, I mean you can have a little red. As a Ferrari fan, you can have a little red. I just like the old MP4. It's nice. I just love
Yeah,
it. I mean,
like to be very honest, like even last time in the British Grand Prix, McLaren came up with the chrome livery.
yeah.
That chrome livery, idly, what is a chrome livery to us? Lewis Hamilton or Mika Hakkinen or Kimi Raikkonen, all those drivers driving in that chrome livery McLaren.
Hmm.
Okay, this is what in our mind chrome livery is. They put to that chrome livery their papaya colors. Again,
Yeah,
the color papaya is not going anywhere.
that's
That is
true.
that is for certain. Except if it's like some Senna inspired livery, of course, then the color goes to a different color. Or else, I think they should actually bring that Senna livery to Brazil.
Oh, that would work. The yellow and
That
green.
that trust me would be fantastic.
You know what you need? They just need to park that car on a curb, and that would they would just
Yeah,
camouflage it.
just leave it there.
Yeah, just leave it there. Yeah.
Yeah, but keeping that one all aside, I want to talk about Max Verstappen. The guy used a swear. He swear during the press conference. He's told to do public service, which is the first I have ever seen such kind of a penalty to a driver. And then after that, the next press conferences, he's just like, he just says one word. Okay, I don't know. Like it's just like you're talking to a robot and that's it. And on top of this, he's like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to discuss it over here. You can come outside where I can actually talk properly and give you your answers. Like what? Like, I just didn't understand. Nathan, like what do you what were your thoughts?
See, there are some things that I like about Max. This is one of them. Really, honestly. I just love his attitude, man. It's just a lot of people are going to hate it. A lot of people are, I mean, obviously there is a limit to everything, and obviously that
Yeah,
that kind of that pettiness is obviously it doesn't look that good, but if you were to actually put yourself into Max's shoes, it's just weird. And to put more things into perspective, the amount of unbelievable nonsense that the FIA has done. Because I'm being honest, Arjun, I need a separate episode just to talk about how bad the FIA has been this season. We haven't had a lot of controversies like 2021, though, but still, just unnecessary, unbelievable things that they've done on track and off track. And this is one of them. So it's just weird. I don't get it. And Verstappen has come out and said, it's these things that could factor into, maybe his early retirement of Formula One. And it's sad to see a driver of his caliber, just going out of the sport of just unnecessary rules and regulations like that. I mean, that's the last thing you want for a driver to,
I don't
retire
think
so early.
Verstappen will do an early retirement. I'm really doubting.
With the way he's been talking this thing up. I mean, he's not going to retire anytime soon, but he's also said that he's not looking to he's not looking to compete
200
in Formula One
races.
for a very, very long time.
No,
He
because
is a very young driver.
I remember in the press conference when it was Lewis racing for this much number of races. The journalist asked Max, "Are you planning to do the same?" And he's just like, "No."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's ready to go do iRacing immediately after his Formula
Well,
One career.
iRacing, in fact, is actually giving him quite a lot, to be very honest. He's got
That
his
is
own
true.
team there. And
Yeah.
again, if the team messes up, his race messes up on track, might as well focus on that very much, you know?
Yeah. He's got everything. He's got his side stuff all sorted out. So I mean, it's really a very interesting thing that that Max has to now do community service, which is so funny.
I'm really curious what will be the community service? Teaching kids how to, what do you call, say things without swearing?
I don't know what it is. I am actually very intrigued
I
to
mean,
find out.
as we speak about the swearing bit, free practice, Yuki Tsunoda. The engineer was like, good improvement on the radio message. You're not swearing a lot. I didn't understand because a good amount of things were in asterisks. What was really going on there?
You can't expect anything from Yuki Tsunoda. He's that type of driver, right? He just goes explicit at any point of time. Even we saw this even in the race as well. He was getting so heated up because he wanted Ricardo to give him the
Position.
position because he was on soft tires. So he's that type of driver that just gets aggressive really quickly. And you had to you heard his engineer tell him to calm down. Yuki, calm down.
Yeah.
You need to calm down. But it's so funny. I don't get how these drivers in the media or in the press conferences have to censor themselves. But in the racetrack, they have the tools to censor themselves because these radios are relayed onto the television at a different point of time as to
Yeah.
when they are actually relayed. So they have the freedom to do all of that. But it's just a weird thing.
No, because
Yeah.
say I remember the same what do you call situation when Lewis was asked in a press conference when he called Max on radio something, and then Seb came and defended Lewis, saying like, "Okay, you, it's not like you people put on footballers' mouths like microphones or stuff, and they will be saying everything on the heat of the moment, but it's not
Yeah.
just like it's meant." It's just a thing which comes up on the heat of the moment. And we're all humans. Like, I personally, till this date, I remember that thing what Sebastian Vettel said. It's not like we are, what do you call, we should be the perfect humans, but then on the heat of the moment, things happen.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think, but yeah, personally speaking, what is the community service is something which we got to see. And yeah, finally, as we wrap up before we kind of head to the we end up doing the podcast. I actually want to give like a shout out to Haas, Nico Hulkenberg. First time in the season, three consecutive point finishes. He basically defended the position like anything. In fact, what do you call it? He's just proving again and again he is that one German driver you should never dispose.
Yeah.
You know, like I loved how with that Haas he pulled things out. Again, no joke. Kevin Magnussen also tried his level best, but Nico Hulkenberg, he is what do you call? I don't even have words. Being the only German driver on the grid, he is actually protecting the German country's image on track with according to what he says a plastic car.
Yeah, you know what? This year it's not even looked like a
It's not,
plastic
you know,
car.
I will not call it a plastic car because it has gained points. No joke.
Yeah. And they are fighting with V carb.
Like this year, the plastic car award goes to Stake F1 team.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's not even
Without a doubt.
plastic. It's probably like some what do you call paper car or something.
Paper car, green dustbin, plastic dustbin, whatever it is a dustbin,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
and
And
yeah,
it's so sad that he has to drive that dustbin next year. I mean, I just hope that Steak Sauber, whatever they're called, gives him a better car next year because look, that guy he can pull out, he can pull out very good points finishes. He's done that for Renault. He's done that for every team that he's been in. Unfortunately, poor guy, the podium has eluded him. He's the only driver on the grid, or literally in the whole of F1, if I'm not wrong, the history of F1, who has entered every race but has not scored a podium
yeah.
with the amount of points he scored. So it's just sad. But
Yeah,
That guy is a very
Lando
consistent
Norris
driver.
was in that list as well. It's just that after Miami, the list kind of just kind of removed him off.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
fortunes were very good for McLaren after that.
yeah. But Nico is a wonderful driver. And the way he also is racing with Perez as well, keeping Perez behind him. Can you imagine that? That is insane to keep a Red Bull
And
behind
Checo
you.
Perez.
Let's leave Checo Perez out of this, okay? I'm sorry, but like a Red Bull. Let's talk about it as a Red Bull because Perez don't know where he is. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's unbelievable for him to do that in a Haas. So well done, Nico.
Well done, well done. And yeah, on not much terrible disappointment, thank you so much for tuning on to another episode of Formula Pod. Just to wrap it up, Singapore Grand Prix wasn't the best of the best. But again, for the OG night race, we had to really point out some hard things which we felt was something which we had to say. But yeah, on that note, it's myself, Arjun, and Nathan signing off from the team of Formula Pod. Goodbye.